What would you say to describe evolution in a few words?
I've always been a great fan of alien invasion films, but I didn't want to do a traditional one. I wanted to find something a little bit different. And so, unlike normal films which have aliens invading in spaceships, with ray guns, attacking us with death rays, this is much more organic and more subtle. This is a meteor that falls to Earth, containing single-celled organisms that, evolve very, very quickly into creatures that are small and a little larger and more vicious until they become a real threat to our planet. And Evolution tells that story against these four heroes, two of which are just ordinary guys who teach at a small college in Arizona, United States, who are the ones who are called on then to save the world from this threat.
Your best memory of the shooting of Evolution, and maybe your worst if you had one?
Well, my best memory really had to do with working with these four actors. David Duchowny was always so funny and so generous and so witty, and he worked so well with Orlando Jones, this extraordinary comic talent, and they would trade with each other like a fine musical jazz duo. They were like a great counterpoint together. And Sean William Scott, who I'd worked with in Road Trip, I think is like this great accent in this combination, this musical combination. Julianne Moore surprises us because she's, one of the finest English-speaking actresses of our time, and she's mostly known for her sort of very serious work. And now suddenly here she is, falling down and being very clumsy and in a very funny way, but at the same time intelligent and sexy.
If you had to choose an actor?
Well, I don't do that. I mean, I've worked with some of the actors many times, like particularly Bill Murray, who I think is a very versatile performer, and also is just this great comic genius, and has one of the most interesting minds of anybody I've met. So he always kept me on my toes, and I think, on one hand he's sort of very funny, on another hand he's very dangerous, and in his mind, and I think he's just an extraordinarily interesting person.
Why do you like to make comedy, and what's your favorite comedy of all times?
I don't know if it's my favorite. It's very hard to choose just one. I like Some Like It Hot very much, the Billy Wilder film, and it's just such a great combination of so many different things. And I don't know why I like comedy. I think the idea that I don't think there is not enough humor in the world. I think I personally don't enjoy pretension in anybody else, and I think humor and comedy is a way of sort of reducing pretension in the world.
Okay. And what is, according to you, the good formula to make a good comedy?
First,
very hard to do.
Well, the first formula is not to follow any formula, because there's no way to, there's no way to bring anything that rigid to the making of any film, particularly comedy film, which is, like a very, it's built through millions of careful decisions. Comedy is all about precision, and so it's all about detail and working out the details.
It was nice to see Dan Aykroyd again. It reminds me, obviously, of Ghostbusters. Was it a clin d'oeil to Ghostbusters, or?
Well, a little bit, and also he's just the perfect person for this part. It's just, even if I had never worked with him before, he would have been, I think, a very good choice to be the governor of Arizona. I also thought it would be something very fun to see someone who was such an example of an anti-establishment character in the late 70s and early 80s, now becoming this important political figure, played in this movie. And of course, he's a good friend, and I've worked with him many times, particularly in Ghostbusters. So it was a great joy to work together again.
You're not tired, but we speak a lot about Ghostbusters many years after.
Of course not. No. I enjoyed that Ghostbusters and many of my other films are still seem to be in the current, in a current vernacular in the films, and especially now with tapes and DVDs. Apparently, my films are very highly collected and rented, and to me, that's just a great honor, and it makes me feel very special that people are still interested in this group of movies.
Is Ghostbusters your favorite movie?
Of my own?
Of your own? Yeah.
Well, this cliche about they're all my children, so I can't choose one child over another. I think it's the most successful of my films. I don't know if it's I wouldn't know if it's my favorite. I like I like Days very much that I made, and Twins, and Stripes, and 6 Days, 7 Nights. So, they're all interesting for me.
You're also a great producer. If you had to choose between directing and producing, what would you choose?
That's very easy actually.
Mm-hmm.
This one is easy because I love to direct 100 times more than to produce, and really the producing is more a function of necessity and something I do to keep my company going and busy, and it gives me the ability to make other films that I don't want to make this extraordinary time commitment that is required, when I direct.
Okay. I read that you're about to produce a new Mike Myers movie, an adaptation of the Pink Panther. Is it true?
I've been working with Mike, just beginning. It's still not, absolute that this will happen. But it's something that we're both interested in doing if we can find a special way to do it.
Yeah. What dreams do you have now as a director?
Well, just trying to find new, fresh, wonderful stories that move us emotionally, that have characters that are interesting and unique, that I can continue an original language for myself and to entertain and have people laugh at the things that I do.